Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates, and we have a huge update to the ATR 72-600 series, as well as a bunch more information of new aircraft coming down the pipeline, guys, so stick around. If you are interested in acquiring any of my overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. So first up in our news today, you guys, is the Fokker 70-100 series aircraft from Just Flight. They have been struggling to get a soundscape of the aircraft from the team over at Sim Acoustic. With newer jets, it's obviously much easier because there's much greater access to the aircraft as there's more of them around. However, Sim Acoustic has been struggling to get a hold of a soundscape of the 70-100 series aircraft. However, in the early part of this year, they have found themselves in front of 3 different Fokker 70-100 series aircraft in the Netherlands. So they were able to get both engine variant types, as well as gentle spool-ups, startups, avionics suites, you guys name it. They've been able to get a ton of recording for the aircraft. We still don't have any other information on the release of these aircraft or whether or not the price is going to be high, low, etc. However, it's really good to hear that the soundscape, as I have stated in multiple times in multiple videos, that the immersion can be broken by sound just as easily as, you know, the yoke not working or something like that. So it's really awesome to hear that Sim Acoustic has been the one jumping on this. Sim Acoustic, you guys, has done a great job on multiple different aircraft of doing their recordings. They really have a knack for it, and so I'm really excited to hear that they were the ones getting the recording for these particular aircraft. Again, these are an older generation of aircraft. One of the things that I'm so excited about is sort of when it comes to the PC-12 and the TBM 850 is those the older steam gauge aircraft. You know, you're not even the Learjet that's out now, which will be flying this week on the channel as well. You don't have all the glass cockpits and things like that, so to me they're a lot more fun. They're typically a lot busier inside the cockpit. There's usually more switches, buttons, and testing to do in the pre-flight. So I'm really excited to see what these guys come up with, and I can't wait to get my hands on the Fokker 70-100 series planes. I think they're going to be a lot of fun and definitely a great addition to the private/business jet model of aircraft. Obviously quite a bit larger than that, but definitely in the same category as far as from my standpoint, from a simulation standpoint. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for the Fokker 70-100 series of aircraft? Let me know down below. The famous India Foxteco has provided an update on their British Tornado aircraft that's soon coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator, stating that the exterior modeling is 99% complete with just a last little bit of detail that needs to be polished up. Same thing with the internal cockpit, as you guys can see here. Again, they have a bit more modeling and cleaning up to do, but for the most part, it is basically complete. The one thing they do say is that the sound set needs quite a bit of work, and obviously that needs to be polished out quite a bit before they are willing to release the aircraft. The first iteration of the flight model is also set and ready to go, but though still needs further tuning and modeling done before it can be released to the public. But the British Tornado is a really hot aircraft. It's actually one of the ones that I wish that we would find in DCS World. It's right up there when it comes down to capabilities of the F-15 and things like that. Again, I can't state enough. It's an incredibly capable aircraft, very fast aircraft, very maneuverable aircraft, and certainly extremely efficient for what it does. So this will be a fun one to get our hands on, especially with the sweep wing design that we see with many other aircraft, such as obviously the F-14, the F-104. So it'd be fun to have another sweep wing aircraft. The sweep wing aircraft, I think, are just fun in general, just because of how they just look slick. They look like a bullet flying through the air. So again, that is the India Foxteco Tornado update. Some news from the developers of the YawMan Aero. As you guys know, this product, although very effective, I have to agree that the price point unfortunately was extremely high at $249.99 US for this particular piece of equipment. I agree with many of your statements that price was way too high for this. Now, they have done something that I have to give them a bit of credit for, and there are some things that I'm going to say that are still negative. So having this product myself sitting on my desk as we speak, I cannot stress enough, it is very capable. And the mapping options are quite awesome, especially if you use something like spad.next to control your mappings, because you can map just about anything that you could to your HOTAS or yoke or the Bravo or anything like that to it. It really does offer far more significant mapping capabilities than that what you would get with an Xbox controller. I know that that's what many of you see when you look at this, and the overall design and shape of it is definitely that of an Xbox. However, it is significantly more effective for flight simulation. They've really done a great job with its features. However, the price, as we have stated, was way too high. Now, YawMan has heard the complaints. They have heard the feedback, and they have lowered the price down to $199.99, so $200. Now, before we get on that one, let's talk about what else they've done that is a big deal for the community. If you have already purchased the YawMan at the $249.99, you will be getting a $50 credit. No work needs to be done on the end user side. They are just automatically adding a $50 refund to anyone who has already purchased the unit. For that, they get massive credit from me for the fact that you have nothing to do as an end user. You don't have to go to their website and, request your $50 refund. You don't have to, treat it like a rebate. It's just automatically being delivered back for you. For me, that is a big move. That's owning up to your position and saying, hey, we agree with you. We heard your feedback. We want to do something right by you guys. We're going to give you $50 back without any work on you. So if you've already purchased it, watch those bank accounts or credit cards, PayPals, whatever it may be, as you should be receiving a $50 credit from YawMan. Now, to talk unfortunately still on the negative side, I still think that $200 is too expensive. However, their reasoning for it, unfortunately, in today's day and age does make sense. Many of the components that are used in the development of the YawMan are scarce and hard to come by, coming from outsourced departments or stores and locations and things like that. That makes it a bit hard to track down some of the parts and get them delivered. And then, of course, you have shipping and all that jazz that adds up into it. When you're not talking about a large-scale corporation, for example, something like Thrustmaster, who has their own manufacturing and their own lines of delivering these kind of products, YawMan had to outsource this. Obviously, they don't have their own warehouse yet. They had to, do things to get the product in development, which obviously costs a bit more money than something a large-scale corporation, again, like Thrustmaster would have access to. Or, in our case, the Microsoft for the Xbox, something that they have access to, right? So that price obviously goes up quite a bit when you are looking at new developers who are new to the game and just coming out. They don't have their own factories. So the fact that the components are hard, some of the components are hard to come by, and obviously production costs themselves because they're not doing it in-house. These are things that do make sense to me, all right? And I do see where the price would be quite a bit higher. And obviously, in order for any company to be effective, they have to make a profit. With inflation where it is and the cost of things rising, people say that, we are in deflation. No, we're not. We're in disinflation. Look up the difference. There is a difference between the two. So prices are still continuing to rise on things on a daily basis. So on one hand, yes, I agree the $200 price point is still quite a bit high for this. On the other hand, I understand where it's coming from and that the company needs to make money in order to stay in business and eventually grow to the point where, they can produce this kind of stuff in-house, or develop new products. So I see both sides of it. I truly do. I, again, applaud them for the $50 discount. I applaud them for giving the $50 refund. They earn a ton of respect from me personally for being able to push that money back out to its purchasers without any work on the end users. Again, that is a big move to me, and it says a lot about the people who are developing the YawMan and what their morals and ethics are in regard to business operation. So they really do get the applause. And so I will say that if you are someone who is very limited on space or you travel a lot, I will tell you that in the end, you will get $200 of value out of this thing. It is far superior to that of an Xbox. Many people in my review were comparing it to an Xbox controller and other reviews. Guys, I have an Xbox controller. I use it for my drone cameras and my drone views, when I do the cinematic shots and things like that. There is no comparison between these two. Zero. Other than it's got the overall shell that looks similar to an Xbox, there is no comparison to this and an Xbox controller. You cannot do with an Xbox controller what you can do with this. You cannot map all the things that you can map to this. You do not have access to all the different button combinations, trim wheels, condition levers, flaps, axis, propeller, mixture. You cannot do all that with an Xbox. This offers a far superior method of flying, especially if you are someone who travels or on the move, or you use something like a laptop, right? So just tossing that out there for anybody who's interested in hearing that particular point. So again, hats off to you, YawMan, for taking the first step and doing the right thing there and being right by your end users. Guys, if you guys are interested in it, I still do recommend it as a product. I do, though, agree that the price is still high, although given the day's economy and what we deal with on the daily, just trying to buy groceries, the price kind of makes sense when you think about the cost of everything else that's out there. Companies, and especially small companies like this who aren't going to have their own manufacturing, they're going to pay for it. You know what I mean? So let me know what you guys think down below. Inibuilds releases their third update for the A300 600, and this is everything from interior art, exterior art, animation fixes, light positioning fixes, making sure, getting the lights back where they actually belong, and a ton of flight model, avionics, and system updates and fixes. They've really done an amazing job. I will have a link down in the description down below, you guys, to an article where you guys can see the entire changelog, but I will tell you that if you already own the A300 600, make sure that you guys update it because the update is massive. If you guys do not own the A300 and you're interested in a large aircraft like this, Inibuilds is certainly the way to go. They are showing a very, very good streak of updates and showing them to be very consistent and quick. And that's the big thing, is that you're not waiting. Yes, some people have two different schools of thoughts when it comes to updates and people who update rapidly. I will agree that certain companies have updated previously too often, like me, sometimes 2-3 times a week, where it wasn't necessarily fixing bugs. Like if there's a game-breaking bug, yeah, hot fixes need to be pushed out immediately because it's game-breaking. But for just overall quality of life updates and things like that, a couple times a week can be a bit much. But once a month, twice a month, something like that, I think that's very reasonable. But what it shows beyond all else, no matter what you think of the schedule, it shows that the developer wants to produce a product that is of quality and is worth the money that you have put into their company and buying their product. So Inibuilds has always had a pretty damn good track record. I don't know if they've really ever put out an aircraft that I would call that was garbage. I don't think they've ever hit that level. They do a pretty damn good job. They've always been consistent with updates. Even with their scenery, they update quite often if there's an issue, and they update pretty rapidly. So again, Inibuilds A300 600 has received a massive update. I will have a link to the article down below if you guys are interested in reading all of those changelog updates for yourself prior to updating. If you already own the aircraft, just update it. Trust me, you'll be happy. As we get into the updates to the ATR 72-600, I want to remind you guys, if you guys are interested in flying this incredible aircraft, I have a full PDF tutorial guide walking you through everything from cold and dark at a departure to cold and dark at destination, giving you absolutely everything you need to complete the flight inside this guide. It can be found on my Patreon site as well as all of my other guides. You only subscribe once, guys. It's $10 a month and you get access to all of my guides and all of the updates while you're a subscriber, and it really, really does help me and support the channel and make the things that I do possible. So wanted to point that out. Let's get into the updates to the ATR. All right, so first off, you guys, a big shout out to FS Elite for putting this article together, because holy crap, they put their effort in here. Check out this amazing, and you guys are going to want to pause and walk through it, but check out this incredible. This is by far the largest update I have ever seen to the ATR, and I am super excited. By the way, you guys, in order to update this aircraft or purchase the aircraft, you have to get it from the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace. That is the only place to purchase this plane, unfortunately. I wish that it was actually available externally, but check this out, you guys. This is absolutely amazing. Again, please feel free to pause. But they went to war on this thing. We have a ton of new features, a ton of bug fixes. There was a big issue with hotel mode not working properly after a landing and restart, and now that is operational again. I mean, they really went to war on this aircraft, and I cannot wait to fly this. So We are going to be going through the guide again on this channel, you guys. We're going to be flying the ATR this week. So please keep an eye out for that because I'm super excited. There were so many things in here, and I'm not going to point each one of them out, especially because I don't want to turn anyone off from the aircraft. It is a incredibly fun plane, you guys. This is a really cool aircraft. It really offers a different type of flying. It still has some glass cockpit features, but yet there's a ton of things outside of glass cockpits that make it really, really neat. It's just different. I don't know how to describe it, but I will tell you, even if you look at this plane, you go, that's not really me. I fly the A320s or whatever. Trust me when I tell you, give it a shot. Like I'm telling you, it's just something unique and different about flying this particular plane. Again, we're going to be flying it later in the week. Don't forget I have a full PDF tutorial guide if you guys get excited by it and you want to learn how to fly it step by step. A lot of the reference information that is in my tutorial guide, much like all the others, come from a real-world pilot. So that was super exciting as well. Just like with the PC-12, I got to do a tutorial with a real-world pilot. It was similar to that of the ATR. The differences with the ATR is I did not get company-specific information. It was more walking through the POH, but it was still a really exciting time. So, as always, guys, stay safe and healthy. Let me know what you guys think of everything down below. Grab this ATR. I promise you're going to love it. It is a really fun plane. Even if you don't buy my guide, I don't even care about that. I'm telling you, the aircraft itself is freaking awesome. It's a whole different style of flying. You can take it some really neat places. Also, Aerosoft has released an Antarctica scenery that we're going to be trying out, and I think that's a perfect opportunity to use the ATR. That would probably be more like a -8 or -7 flight in real world, but I think we're going to take the ATR out there and check it out. So stick around for that, guys. As always, once again, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.